And this might be the biggest embarrassment yet. Certainly the media has really seized on this for good reason. I mean, you can't really say that they're smearing him when they're basically just playing his own words. Let's take a look at this. A lot of people are pissed off about this. This has generated a lot of outrage and a lot of accusations of anti-Semitism that are coming RFK Jr.'s way. Let's take a look at his words here about COVID and how it may have been ethnically targeted to spare certain demographics.
And we need to talk about bioweapons. The level, I know a lot now about bioweapons because I've been doing a book on it for the past 2.5 years, and you know, the technology that we now have to develop these microbes, we've put hundreds of millions of dollars into ethnically targeted microbes. The Chinese have done the same thing. In fact, COVID-19, there's an argument that it is ethnically targeted. COVID-19 attacks certain races disproportionately. The races that are most immune to COVID-19 are because of the structure of the genetic structure of genetic differentials among different races of the receptors of the ACE2 receptor. COVID-19 is targeted to attack Caucasians and Black people. The people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese.
I just got off the phone with my good friend Kanye West, and he assures me, after 2.5 years of exhausted research with the same fine fellows that got him all of his intel on Skeet Davidson, that in a laboratory in Wuhan, China, they developed certain highly sophisticated weaponry that was not just attacking his people, but my people too. And he assures me that it's got to be us, and we have to stand against the Chinese because they're doing it. And another group of people, and you're not going to want to hear this, but Kanye assures me this has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. This is just the science, and you can read the peer-reviewed science. There's plenty of science. I know many scientists. In fact, my family has contributed millions of dollars to the funding of science. Okay, I'm very well qualified to discuss this, and what we've discovered is there is an international cabal. I'm not prepared to say by who, but if I am elected president, you're sure as fuck gonna find out. Mark my words.
You don't know whether it was deliberately targeted that or not, but there are papers out there that show the racial and ethnic differential and the impact to that. We do know that the Chinese are spending hundreds of millions of dollars developing ethnic bioweapons, and we are developing ethnic bioweapons. That's what all those labs in the Ukraine are about. They're collecting Russian DNA, they're collecting Chinese DNA, so that we can target people by race.
Gotta love these people sitting next to him too. Like, the fuck are you saying, bro? The fuck are you talking about? Kind of reminds me at the Cannes Film Festival in 2014 when Kristen Dunst was sitting next to Lars von Trier, and he started talking about how Hitler, how he really relates to Hitler, and how Hitler did nothing wrong or something like that. And
hey, what can I say? I understand.
Yeah. And she's just sitting there, like her face falling, like, no, shut up, stop.
This is a good movie, I promise.
Anyway, yeah, so I don't really know what the fuck he's talking about here, but I think it's pretty clear that, yeah, he was suggesting that COVID was ethnically targeted to spare Chinese and Jews. That's what you got too, Zach. It's not like that's being taken out of context. It's not like he was referencing like some other theory that's obviously not true. Like, no, he was at least positing that as a theory that he believes to be worth consideration, right?
Guys, we could play it one more time. He said clear as day. It's crazy too, because this guy thinks that it's actually like a credential to say that I've been studying bioweapons for how long? Wait for it, 2.5 years. So you got interested in this after COVID-19 came out, and you're like, I've got all the answers. Everybody else is dumb as shit. Okay, yeah, this fucking guy. So that's how he leads you into the argument. That's how, you know.
I've been listening to underground information sources because the mainstream media just won't let you get anything good these days. Okay, and my good brother Alex Jones, I know he's been run through the mud. He's made some bad choices, but for the most part, he gets on the green, if you know what I'm saying, fellas. Okay, and he assures me that it's a serious problem because it's not just the blacks they're after anymore. It's the whites too, and oh boy, now I have to pick up the phone because I have a problem with that, my boy. This is my father. Yeah.
Oh God. So let's check out his. He has a couple responses here that are increasingly embarrassing, and then we're going to get into Marianne Williamson's response because obviously he gave her a perfect open lane here to come in and kind of contrast herself as the better alternative to Joe Biden, the one that doesn't make these sort of comments. But let's check this out. RFK Jr. denies comments on ethnically targeted COVID-19 were anti-Semitic. He denies allegations of racism and anti-Semitism. Kennedy, a longtime vaccine skeptic who was running a long shot primary campaign against Biden, said during a Tuesday night press event that COVID-19 was targeted to attack Caucasians and black people. He went on to say that the people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese. After a broad backlash to his comments, first reported by the New York Post, Kennedy took to Twitter to defend himself, calling the reporting mistaken and writing that he did not believe COVID-19 had been deliberately engineered against specific ethnicities. I have never, ever suggested that COVID-19 virus was targeted to spare Jews, except for in that fucking clip that we all just watched like 2 minutes ago on the Vanguard.
No. They took me out of context in Politico. I said I never meant to say that in front of a camera.
Yeah, I don't know how he's denying it. Like the very most charitable interpretation is like he said there's a theory that this is happening, or like some people are suggesting that, but some people are saying a lot of things. Like, yeah, so I'm sure some people are saying that, RFK. I could tell you a lot of other things that some people are saying, and that should never come out of the mouth of a fucking presidential candidate who's trying to be taken seriously, right? And I guess that, again, if we're taking it most charitably and saying that, oh, well, this is just something I heard, not necessarily something I believe, just something I heard, it's like, well, that kind of tells us a lot about who you're listening to. And that's probably people like Alex Jones, right? If that's the kind of talking points you're getting about the COVID virus. Anyway, I think that's pretty weak of him to, basically just try to gaslight us into thinking that he didn't say it when clearly it's on video. We just watched it. But yeah, it's saying that he claimed he meant to express his belief that the United States and other governments were developing ethnically targeted bioweapons, citing a study on the genetic susceptibility to COVID-19 as proof of concept that such bioweapons could be created.
Yep. I mean, it's wild, right? Because you're like, wow, we always said nobody so dumb as Donald Trump could decide to run in the Democratic primary. This is how liberals used to love to yank themselves off. Oh yeah, this could only happen in the Republican primary. Well, here you guys go. Here's your fucking dumbass of the month. And guess what? He's fucking got 20% in the polls in the Democratic primary. I mean, if this guy wasn't such an obvious charlatan fraud with absolutely no communication skills, no critical thinking skills, and a media diet that consists of Fox News and InfoWars,
there's turning the frogs gay. Oh, that's a good line. I'm going to steal that, but it's the transgenders is a way better one.
It's just like, wow, you really have to marvel at it. You're like, wow, our political systems are so broken that people see a guy like RFKJ, they see a guy like Donald Trump, and they think, oh, there's a guy that's standing up for me. He's going to fight for me. I don't like the vaccines neither. Oh, okay. Yeah, fucking great. Let's make that guy president. It's just fucking crazy.
Let's take a look at his official response. And to be honest, this might, in my opinion, be even worse than the original comments themselves. I'll let you judge, Zach. But as he says, I will fight relentlessly alongside my Jewish brothers and sisters and friends against Jew hatred and the demonization of Israel. I have just recorded an interview with Rabbi Shmuley, whom the same New York Post just this month called the most famous rabbi in America. I was just hanging out with that guy. All I'm saying, I have called upon the Biden administration not to consummate a second Iran deal that would give the genocidal government a legitimized nuclear program. Oh, so you're worse than Joe Biden? Wow. At least Joe Biden pretended to want to get back in the Iran deal. You're to the right of Joe Biden on Iran. That's fucking crazy. Glad we know that now, RFK. He goes on to say, in the same interview, I called upon the Democratic Party to return to the strong, unconditional support of Israel that was the hallmark of the party under the leadership of my uncle and my father. Return to the strong, unconditional support of Israel. What do you fucking mean? There's like one person in Congress that's not supportive of Israel. It's fucking Rashida Tlaib and sometimes Ilhan Omar, and literally everyone else unconditionally, unanimously supports Israel every single time, no matter what. What the fuck are you talking about? How is the Democratic Party not already as staunch an ally of Israel as fucking possible? That's insane to say. And like I said, way to literally come out as being to the right of Joe Biden on Iran. Not that we can give Joe Biden any credit on the Iran deal, because he has not re-entered the Iran deal, but at least he pretended to want to. At least he said that it was a good thing and that we should go back in it. He hasn't done that so far, but at least he's not out here doing what RFK is and saying that if we do another Iran deal, then will legitimize a genocidal government in Iran. I mean, that's fucking crazy. That sounds like something Lindsey Graham would fucking say. Anyway, it's been pretty funny watching so-called leftists, Jimmy Dore lefties, the people trying to fucking twist themselves into anti-Iran deal, pro-apartheid pretzels to try to defend this motherfucker. But it has been pretty gloriously revealing too. But yeah, what was your reaction to this? Like I said, Zach, I think this apology might actually in some ways be worse than the original comments themselves.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I mean, it's tough to top those original comments, but now it's like, hey, look, guys, this famous New York Post. Yeah, I'm gonna go talk to that rabbi. Like, blah, blah. Like, I mean, very, this guy is the champ right now of wanting to have his cake and eat it too. He wants to dog whistle and make little hand motions to the most deranged, conspiratorial, rabid elements of his base, the ones he knows are his rock. But he also wants to have the veneer of respectability that I don't think that Trump ever hung on to in the Republican primary. RFK-J is still married to the pomp, the circumstance, the mythology of the presidency, of his father's legacy, of his uncle's legacy. And so I think he's trying to court that deranged base because the deranged people are all he has. But he's also trying to keep that veneer of respectability again, being the last straw. But I mean, the clips don't lie, guys. I mean, they literally do not lie. This is ridiculous stuff.
Yep. And speaking of Trump, I think that RFK honestly should have taken a page out of the Trump playbook here. Trump knew one thing. He figured one thing out, and that's to never apologize when the media wants you to. And RF Kennedy has now several times immediately buckled under the pressure of the mainstream media. He deleted that tweet about Roger Waters and immediately came out there and, offered a correction and an apology and all that. Now, this time, after making these comments, he comes out here and does this embarrassing, groveling apology. Don't worry, I'm best friends with the most famous rabbi in America. I promise. Don't worry, I'm not anti-Semitic. It's fucking embarrassing. I'm not saying that these comments don't warrant an apology. They certainly do. And I guess it's in some ways a sign of maturity that he did put this out here. But like I said, I think that given the kind of people that he's courting, given the demographics that he's appealing to, an apology comes off as weakness. That's what Trump showed. That's why he never apologized. And that's why he got away with fucking everything. If you don't apologize for something, then a lot of people will think, well, I guess there was nothing to apologize for. I guess he was right. And I think that RFK kind of looks silly and pathetic and weak here, in addition to revealing himself to be a right-wing anti-Iran hawk and a pro-apartheid Israel apologist who wants the Democratic Party to show even more unconditional support to a country that provides universal healthcare to its citizens while we remain insuranceless. Anyway, pretty crazy stuff.
Oh yeah. I mean, RFKJ keeps giving us good material. He's feeding us. He's feeding the old beast here of the Vanguard, because he honestly, every time I think this guy can't embarrass himself, can't humiliate himself anymore, boy, he reaches a new plateau. I thought the shirtless sunshine, push-up video was going to be the hallmark of this campaign, but boy, was I wrong. I had no idea what I was in for.
I just quickly wanted to throw up Marianne Williamson's response before we get into the super chats. So Marianne comes out here and posts, I strongly denounce comments made earlier this week by RFK Jr., implying that Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese were relatively spared by COVID-19, while Caucasian and Black people were specifically targeted. Whether intentionally or not, his remarks amplify sinister and unfounded notions that are both anti-Semitic and anti-Chinese. Kennedy's I'm only asking questions use of the most anti-Semitic tropes is unacceptable. As a Jewish American candidate in the 2024 presidential race, I stand against this covert racism writ large. Such language serves only to divide us further at a moment when we need desperately to unite. And then she posts this article from Mother Jones. But yeah, I mean, Marianne Williamson obviously seizing on this as an opportunity to contrast herself with RFK and be like, hey, if you want to challenge her to Biden, who doesn't make insane anti-Semitic remarks, then maybe I'm the candidate for you instead of this fucking freak over here. And I think, that's definitely warranted, specifically because she is a Jewish American candidate, as she mentions in her second tweet here. But yeah, what did you think about Marianne's reply, Zach?
I think that she needs to double down. I think she needs to castigate him even more forcefully, because I think this is how she has to get in there and how she has to start differentiating. This is unacceptable rhetoric, and I know she's calling it out, and I know that she says that she strongly denounces it, but let's see some fire. Let's not see a tweet. Let's see a video of her out here forcefully talking about the rising dangers of anti-Semitism and anti-Chinese Chinese rhetoric, of the hate crimes and how they rose against Asian Americans during COVID-19, how anti-Semitism, you don't even have to go through everybody knows what the fuck happened when anti-Semitism rose in Western world. Okay, it was called the fucking Holocaust, and it was one of the greatest human rights tragedies of all time. Okay, so you have that. And honestly, the anti-Chinese sentiment in America goes all the way back to the building of the railroads. We banned people from China from the Chinese Exclusion Act. Okay, guys, we did a lot of fucked up things to Chinese people in this country too. Okay, there is a large well of racism in this country, and we spread it around across the board to all kinds of people who were not, hetero white Protestants. Okay, for the most part. So yeah, I think that this is a great one for her to go in there and say, "Hey, you are destroying what the average American understands of your parents' legacy." Because I remember the first time we interviewed Marianne Williamson, and she lovingly and thoughtfully talked about Bobby Kennedy and what it meant to her as a child to see a candidate like that who, regardless of his actions, we could talk about the problems of Bobby Kennedy and, JFK, but the image that they projected to the American people was that they were pro-equality, that they were against segregation, that they wanted to uplift the poor and the middle class. Chris Hedges, I believe, used the word nauseating. I think I said fucking disgusting and out of touch to describe RFK's whole. My father talked to me and he said, those poor fuckers in Appalachia, they belong to you and they're going to work for you, damn it. Or whatever else he said. I can't remember. But how out of touch and, whatever it is. But to the American people, they thought that the Kennedys were there to uplift them. This is divisive. This is against the entire, mythology of America, the mirage that was being created in 1950s America. And it's honestly, it's really low hanging fruit, and it's nothing that we, haven't come to expect from, the Nepo baby who decided to run for president. But yeah.